Thank you. Yeah, I'm doing great.
I hope you have a wonderful night tonight. Tonight is Saturday, March 19th, 2022, and you're getting closer to take the IELTS test. So what are your preparations?
I'm trying to keep myself as cool as possible. I'm starting to take more
keep talking. I'll grab just a pen.
More seriously, but yes, okay.
Keep talking.
Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to be more serious, but sometimes the circumstances will not allow me, but I'm trying. This is the most important thing. I'm trying to be cool because I have this problem and issue while I'm taking tests. I get so nervous at the beginning. It will affect me like when I'm in the school or in college. It affected me in the first few minutes, but here we don't have too many minutes to waste it on nervousness. So I need to get rid of this bad habit. Yeah, I'm trying to. I don't know if I'm on the track or not. I don't know.
Okay, that's very promising. So far I can see because the way I look at things is a little bit different from the way you look at things. I think you have satisfactory level of performance in speaking, and this is very promising considering the fact that you are an eloquent English speaker and Romanian speaker and Arabic speaker. So you have a polyglot kind of mind, and this is going to help us on the test administration, and the recipient is usually can handle usually the amount of stress, and this is not nervousness, this is stress. That is
stress. Sorry, yeah, I used the wrong term.
Well, actually, you got your point across, which is really good. And
what I realized that when you ask me, for example, for something that's related to me or experience that I did already, I'll be more fluent and I'll be more comfortable talking about it. But when we are talking about rigid stuff, like a dry subject, I don't know what is the exact expression for that. I will be confused.
It's not fair to give you 9 in these what you call rigid, while there are other people who have spent more time and practice than you. So I would definitely be willing to give you 7 or 6.5 or 5 even in the topic that I feel you're not responding in the same efficiency that other people who have spent more time and practice and discipline to answer these kind of questions. However, and it's a big however, the kind of topics that you will be talking about in IELTS, you'll be asked about, especially in speaking and writing, are very excessively common topics. And they do not expect you to provide a what do we call comprehensive, detailed narrative report that usually comes from experts and professional people who work in this field. Rather, they talk about, they ask you to talk about very common topics in English. And these topics, let me show you some here. The kind of topics that they ask you are very silly, like tell me about yourself, which is very common, cliche kind of topic. The idea is not about the type of question. The idea is more of the flow of speech and whether you maintain some consistency, diversity, grammatical flexibility, good connection between the paragraphs and sentences, and your mastery of idiomatic expressions and common expressions and technical expressions and academic vocabulary, or what we call academic nomenclature. So, or nomenclature. These are very detrimental.
Say it, yeah, nomenclature.
Say it again.
I said that I use the second pronunciation, nomenclature.
Okay. It's actually both. It's pronounced both ways. So it's as we say, tomato, tomato. Am I loud?
Yes. No.
Okay. Now, as I said, the kind of diversity of your speech, the kind of mastery of idiomatic expressions, phrasal verbs, good higher level of academic expressions that get your point across, but it's not fair to give you 9 while there are other people who speak better than you. So if you feel under stress, you are not going to get the same score that another person has spent more than you practicing. And as an example, we can go through a very comprehensive list of questions that range from very simplistic ones to a very technical ones that deal with complicated topics. As an example here, it doesn't matter whether you enjoy your job or not, as long as it's well-paid job. You have 3 minutes to answer this question. Let's consider we are in IELTS examination of speaking section test, and I will give you 3 minutes to give me a detailed answer. Let's say 5 minutes. And in this 5 minutes, I'll build on the kind of response that you have. And building on this response, I am going to give you and assess you on the speaking section. Then in our meeting tonight, we're going to talk a little bit about reading, and then we'll negotiate some of reading. And that is just going to give your mind or brain a sense of stable warm-up exercise pre-taking the test, before the time of taking the test. Does that sound like familiar thing to you?
Cannot hear you, it's just interrupted.
Can you hear me or not? Hello? Your voice is gone, Zainab. Hello?
Hello?
Do you hear me?
Yes, I think it's a problem from our internet.
Okay. I'm actually surprised that he works in the field of internet and he has a broken door at his house.
We tried the best one, like it was for 100,000 or something like that, Iraqi dinar, and it needed for too many documents and the registration, and it was the same. I think the problem is in our area, not because of our type of connection. And I bought also this SIM card for the 4G a few days ago, and I'm trying to use it right now. I think it is better.
It's actually so much better if you're using it with Zen service. They have a package for 100 gigabytes per month, and I usually buy that because I rely on it more than I rely on the internet that is provided by my office, because it's really bad. And I use it for maintaining my personal and professional work duties. Yes, so You have 5 minutes if you still recall the kind of question that I asked you.
Yeah, can I hear it again?
Okay, but just keep in mind that this is a sign of not professional listener. If you ask to repeat the question multiple times, just it doesn't matter whether you enjoy your job or not, as long as you're getting well payment or you're getting a good payment. That's the question. Deal?
Okay. When I'm looking for any kind of job or career, there are three major things that I will looking for it in the first place. Will be the first of all is the payment. Second of all, the environment that I will work with, and the most important thing will be the people that I'm going to deal with them. So of course, if I will want to get more and more payment, then I will suggest that I should work first of all on myself, on my actions, on my work more on my attitude at the work. This will be so much promising for me to have better salary at the end of the month. Of course, I'll be satisfied if I was paid enough for my efforts. But if I'm working too much and like, for example, better than others, or I'm working too much hours, like extra working hours, and I'm not getting paid enough, this will be not satisfying for me, of course. That's it.
You still have three minutes. But just to give you a heads up that you mentioned there are three major criteria on which you build your decision.
So I talked only about the salary. Yeah, I talked only about the salary, which is the main topic of our question.
You didn't mention salary. You mentioned payment and environment and people.
Yeah.
So it's highly recommended that you stick to these categories and try to digress more in each one of the subcategories here. That is going to give you a better stand.
I thought that if I will talk about the environment, and it will be away from the main topic. That's what I think about. So that's why I didn't mention it.
Okay. I mean, if this is what you thought about, then you should proceed to talk a little bit more about it, because you just need to develop what we call in English fully fledged narrative of the kind of speaking prompt that is given to you now. So 2 minutes.
The second thing that it is of my higher priorities are directed to is the environment that I will work on. Of course, I'm going to search for places, locations, or that are more filled with positive energy, that will make me do my best without affecting me negatively. Like I will not, I will not prefer to work in closed areas with no places that are far away from my home, or places that are different from my environment around me. The third thing is the people that I'm going to deal with them. and the same like the environment. Bad energy is contagious, so they will affect me negatively if I will deal with people that are constantly blaming or they ask me to do more and more job without giving me what I deserve, like for payment or salary, or I don't know. That's it. That's what come up with me. Hello, did you still there?
Yes, I am.
Are
I'm
you still
taking
there?
notes.
Oh, sorry.
I'm taking
I
notes.
thought that's the internet again.
No. Okay. Now, what you said has given me a better vision of where you're currently situated in terms of speaking, and I'm in no position to determine whether you are a very professional, fluent English speaker, because I'm not a native speaker of English, and they usually have that auto-tuned ear to determine, and I often get feedback from my native speaker friends that tell me that there are so many issues with your English when it comes to speaking, word choice, grammar. So we are not perfect. So I'm not expecting you to be perfect. And what we are expecting is to provide a fully detailed answer to the interviewer, because you are going to conduct an interview online via Zoom, I think, or
No, it says, I don't think so. I don't know. Jafar said it's all without using internet and laptops. I don't know what is the kind of my examination actually.
It's going to be using Zoom interview.
Zoom, really?
And the other sections are going to be based on written response. So
yes,
your
paper based, yes.
So your paper is going to be collected, and then building on the kind of response, you are going to be given the score after 14 days, as far as I know. However, this is not something of a core importance here to discuss, because eventually you're going to take a test, whether that's an interview face-to-face or online. You're going to be interviewed by a native speaker. And building on that interview response, you're going to be assessed in terms of your level of language mastery, proficiency, ability to use words. Now, based on the kind of response that you have provided me so far, there are aspects that I like to comment about. Some of them are positive, and some of them need to be worked on. In terms of positive, you have started with very good, solid introduction, telling me about the kind of categories that you're going to focus on: payment, environment, and people. So when you mentioned these three subcategories, I was expecting a little bit more detail narrative about payment, environment, and people. However, you didn't give me that kind of sufficient narrative about these categories, and this is something that you should bear in mind, that once you are in this rut of situation, so you get stuck in this kind of rut of conversation, you need to develop a better mechanism for you to manage the kind of topics by keeping them simplistic and detailed. So don't go that far in providing a horizontal level of explanation, but vertical level of depth. So you choose 1, 2, 3 topics, and then you build depth for these topics, instead of just, narratively saying so and enumerating so many things that are not fully detailed. I mean, you can stack as many topics, but you don't seem to finish any. This is just an indicator that you lack depth in your speech, which is pretty typical if you want to keep talking about something. But for the sake of IELTS, we should keep in mind that just keeping things simplistic is better than just running offshore and start stacking up so many topics without any depth. The second thing, once you maintain a good vibe or a good communication with the interviewer, try as much as possible interrupting them. Let them finish what they want to say, and then you proceed. And usually 1.5 to 2 seconds are good ideal time for managing and orchestrating the speaker and the listener, and then the listener and the speaker role play. Bad energy, we usually collocate negative energy and positive energy, not bad energy. The word bad does not indicate higher level of academic vocabulary. However, in a spoken English, that's very common. A thing, very, and good. These 3 words I have warned you a lot before.
Yes, you
don't use
me,
them.
Yeah.
And then you need to focus on the phrasal verbs, common phrasal verbs, use idioms, and use metaphor and academic words. These are very essential elements of boosting up your score in the test. As an example here for this, it doesn't matter whether you enjoy your job or not, as long as it's a well-paid job. I'll give you an answer, and this answer is subject again to scrutiny and analysis, and it's not by any means 9-score typical answer. So for this kind of question, determining the kind of job, it doesn't matter whether you enjoy your job or not, as long as it's well paid kind of job. So first of all, you need to listen to the question and then
take notes.
Not
I
notes.
remember that we have a few seconds that make us a paper and a pen to write down few thoughts and ideas, and then you can frame it in words.
No, the kind of notes that I take are usually the kind of things that will stick in the ear of the listeners when they hear me. And mostly they are going to be academic, catchy words, or kind of uplifting words, or words that indicate that you have a higher level of mastery of English. So determining instead of choosing. So determining the kind of job is not collocating here with the kind of payment that I am getting. So if we look at the general curve of people around the world, there is no direct correlation between job preference and higher payment. Usually people choose to jeopardize their life for sake of getting a well-paid job that suffices for them and for their family, and have them make a good living standard. However, jeopardizing your job is not equivalent, ostensibly and clearly, if we compare it to people around the world and the kind of payment that they are kindly endowed by their government or their private sector. Sometimes we have to bite the bullet when it comes to determining the kind of job that we need, because some of these jobs have higher level risk and some of them have higher payment but low risk. So in general, there are 3 criteria on which I will personally determine whether this job is going to be suitable for me or not. And probably, and this might be surprising to you, is not the well-paid job. Number one is the convenience of movability and flexibility and proximity of the job to my work, to my place of living. The second thing is good commuting, and whether there is subway that connects my job to my home, because I do not want to consume a lot of fuel or contribute and be a sinner when it comes to polluting the atmosphere. And third, having friendly environment, because, you know, nobody wants to have toxic people at work. Eventually, there are 3 reasons or main criteria on which I will build my choice of the job, and higher payment is none of them, starting from the convenience, proximity, or vicinity of my job to my work, whether it has good friendly environment for work, and whether there are any public transportation agencies that can take me from my home and back when I finish my work. Thank you very much for the question. This is a kind of answer that we usually provide. I am not going to speak very fast. I'm not going to speak very slow and be dragging the listener to listen to the droplets of words that come out of my mouth. No, this is not going to happen. I'm going just to use one idiom, which is bite a bullet, or use some phrasal verbs and academic words like proximity, vicinity, correlation, transportation. These are academic words, indicates that you are in a high level of language proficiency. Self-employment is more stimulating than working for a large organization. What is your comment on that? I will repeat the question, and this is trial number 2. Self-employment is more stimulating than working for a large organization.
I will need you to help me with that.
How am I supposed to help you? I'm an IELTS examiner now.
Yeah, I feel so frustrated right now.
Feeling frustrated doesn't interfere actually with the kind of score that you will eventually get. So in order not to waste the $300+ that you've spent on registering for the IELTS, I think I'm just going to give you this kind of simulation environment for training. And usually, based on my experience, the kind of interview that interviewees have with IELTS are less stressful than the one that you have with me. So let's say I'm prepping you to have less stressful interview.
Yet I feel so stressed. I don't know why.
That's absolutely normal, and it's actually a good indicator that the kind of question is stimulating your skills to respond back. So let's boost up your adrenaline and get ready to answer that question. It's absolutely normal to
like make it like a story. In the past, when I was still a worker in the government or in the field of medicine, I felt that I'm strong, I'm independent, I'm so confident, and I felt that I finally did it. I'm an employee. I can be paid at the end of every month.
Mhm.
When I get married, my husband is a self-employee. At the first, he was a self-employee. And then because of me, I forced him to find a job for himself, because this is the general idea that we all believe in, that you have to be stick for one of the fields or one of the apartment that will give you a salary at the end of the month. He said that this is just an energy consuming action or energy consuming habit that
Mhm.
we all have to be working for somebody else, and that will suck your energy and your positivity and your thoughts to himself, to be proud of himself later on because he's the owner of the project.
Mhm.
I didn't get it at the start, but when he started his own project and I saw how much he succeed and how much how much money he's making for himself, I finally understand that working for others is a waste of time, and it will prevent myself from getting improved. Because all my time, all my energy, all my power, all my personality will be directed to others, to something that belongs to others, not belong to me. So now I'm taking this more seriously. I want to create a job environment that is personal to me. That's like a desk that designed according to my desire, or I want to hire people that are having personality that is close to me or close to my personality. I don't know if I'm good or not.
I think
I'm really stressed.
okay, so this leads us to the next question that we have here. Social networks have rapidly become communication tools for many companies. They will be further developed for business. Did you hear my question?
Yeah. I'm just making sure that you are talking about companies, not for the people.
Social networks have rapidly become communication tools for many companies. They will be further developed for business in the future.
I cannot get there. Really, I didn't get it. What is the social network?
Social networks like Instagram, Facebook,
Oh,
Google.
yeah. So you mean, yeah, we're talking about social media.
Yes, we call them social networks because it networks people socially. Have rapidly become communication tools for many companies. They will be further developed for business in the future. And actually, I think there are so many companies that have incorporated the social networks as a essential part of their business, like delivery, marketing, selling products online, such as Amazon. So they're taking social networks and they are just incorporating it as part of their business model. So I want you to respond to this, whether you agree or disagree that social networks have rapidly become communication tools for many companies. They will be further developed for business in the future.
Like social media or social networking is now becoming one of the major things or major things that are used in everyday, like in daily basis. So it's not important for the it is not important for companies, but also for attracting customers or attracting people to work even from their own home. Like it allows women to work from their home using the network, and yet they are employees or workers in a very big or large companies and well-known companies. It's also it allowed the companies to have better, faster and easier communications and better marketing, best kinds of advertisement, sometimes without the need to use too much money on doing advertisement by other companies. They can do it by using their own websites or their own pages that are related to that company. I don't know what else. That's it. It's also important for like, you know, when you open a website for a certain
Yes.
kind of company, you will read something called review or ranking. This is the best thing that happened for me, according to my personal opinion.
How is this relevant to my question?
How this, for what I said? Okay,
okay.
It will allow you to give your opinion according to your personal experience. So, for example, if I'm going to buy any kind of a product, let's say it is expensive and I want to make sure that it's worthy, so I will click on that button and I will read the comments and whether it will encourage me to buy it or just to give up the idea.
So the question is, social networks have rapidly become communication tools for many companies. So they talk about social networks as communication tools. They will be further developed for business in the future. So these communication tools are going to be further developed into business in the future. How is clicking thing that you're saying to me now, how is it relevant to the kind of question that I'm asking you here? In what way?
I don't know.
In the future, most companies will be online companies. There will be fewer offices and more call centers. What do you think? Do you agree or disagree, and why? Let's start again. The question.
Yes.
The question is.
I don't think.
The question is again. In the future, most companies will be online companies. There will be fewer offices and more call centers. Do you agree or disagree? Why?
I will disagree with that. I will not rather that we will sit in our home doing nothing, just sitting in front of our laptops or computers and working only from there. I will rather that we get up in the morning and go to our work and do this exactly the same as it is done right now, but it is acceptable that we can rely more on network in doing like advertisement and like expanding our work in getting more employees that cannot go outside of their home. So I will not agree that all the work will be online and all employment will be working at home.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it will be cost effective and we will use less.
Now,
effort.
one very simple rule that we usually have and apply in IELTS exams is that you should never stop talking until they tell you to stop talking. However, you need to make sure that you have already developed good introduction, body of enough details to satisfy the listener, and a great conclusion. However, we should and can postpone the conclusion to the point that you feel they are going to tell us to stop talking. And they usually can tell from the first minute where the speech is heading to, whether it's heading positively or negatively, and whether the narrative is going to be fully developed. So the more you speak, the more they will ask you more questions to give more details. As an example here that you mentioned, you mentioned that I prefer to go through the classic style of shopping and visiting companies and do my work at company instead of just sitting behind my desk and do something that is quite boring. However, some people disagree with this fact because they are going to be closer to their families. Everything is going to be accessible to them, including food, lunch, dinner, breakfast, and enough caffeine to keep them awake to do their work. And I've seen so many companies in Iraq specifically that during the pandemic of coronavirus that they stayed at home and they've done exactly the same kind of work that they've done once they are landing at their work. So landing a job that is fully paid but guarantees that you stay closer to your family is better in a way or another. However, do you have any other reasons to convince me that, you know, the kind of classic job of getting stuck in traffic, spending 2 hours to get home and 2 hours to get to work is ideal for this kind of environment setting here? What do you think specifically?
When I'm talking about myself, because I'm a person that will not like, I don't like home actually, and anything domestic. So taking a few hours outside of home will make me feel more free. Because I'm someone that do not like routine. I will rather to go in the fresh air, even if I stuck into traffic for a few hours. This is every time it will be a whole new experience to me, rather than getting back to home to the usual routine that I'm used to, that I can do it together with my job if I have a good and excellent time management that I put it for myself as a plan to deal with the time between my home and my job.
Okay, sounds good. Now, one more question that we do have here to get it started. For this IELTS interview kind of questions here.
Okay.
Small companies can adapt more quickly to changes in the marketplace than large corporations.
Can adapt to what?
Small companies can adapt more quickly to changes in the market than large corporations.
Mm-hmm. Well, I can figure two main or major reasons behind why I agree with that. Because first of all, the smaller companies will have less payments or less financial issues regarding the rent, the number of the employees, the amount of the money spent on the furniture or the place. So even if they lose all what they did or they lose their jobs, then they will not lose too much as the bigger or well-known companies that are having more number of employees. They rent, they have a luxury furnitures, or they are their buildings in a very expensive areas. And the other reason is that when we say a small company, they're usually young people. They're more adaptive to the changes. They are more accepting the idea of losing. They will accept more the idea of losing. They when they go through this experience or this pathway, they know that there are two ways only. It's a success or needs with more resources, with more with the they used to win. They used to make their plans to succeed or force it to succeed. So the idea of failure would be a horrific idea or terrific idea to them. They will not accept it. The number of the persons that will be affected by the failure will be more, and the loss would be larger in this case.
You mentioned the word terrific and horrific. Can you tell me the difference and examples for both?
Horrific. I think it's more like when you are watching movie, like a horror movie. And terrific, it's maybe like terrified. Something related to the reality, like the ordinary life when you feel scared.
And how about terrific?
This is terrific. And horrific, no, it's something that is happening.
What do you mean terrific? Can you put it in an example here?
Like scared, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Well, they are dramatically different. This is terrific coffee or terrific person. It means great person, and horrific means something totally the opposite here. But
I don't know why I related to together.
Okay, they are not related. Just because they end in IC doesn't mean they are related. One more thing that I've sent you here. It's 8 cognitive biases that are creating the way you experience your life. This is writing assignment.
Where can I find it? On Telegram?
I sent it to Telegram. What you have to do tonight. Keep in mind, I'm sending you another I'm sending you 2 files actually. One is a manual for conversation that I have taken these questions from for our meeting of tonight. And the second thing is called To Zainab. So can you open Telegram to check them?
Right. Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
for To Zainab, this is eight cognitive biases that are creating the way you experience your life. I want you to summarize, to read it and give me a one-page summary of what you understood from this. And I will assess your writing based on
I've
what...
already did something like that related to the previous one.
Where is it?
Send it to me. I thought I should read it. I didn't write it down.
Well, please send it to me.
Okay.
Send it to me, and remember something, that this writing is going to be this task is going, I'm using it to assess your level currently before you take the test. So let's say you need to time yourself to either 20 minutes or 40 minutes when you do the task of writing. But just make sure you just complete a one-page written, not handwritten, typed, so I can give you a side comment on it. So use a laptop or an iPad to type the answer. You have to read it, understand it, and explain it to me, and give me your thoughts about it. And let's have an example here, because this is an important to have in mind. Sometimes it's a bit confusing for people who haven't done this before. So it's called let me just pull it up here so we can just discuss it. Okay.
I once asked Jafar why I cannot answer simple questions like you did, and his answer was so funny. He said that because you are not a good liar, so you cannot build up a story.
Narrative has nothing to do with lying. These kind of questions are very common, and some people might have background about them once they practice this model of questions before. And some people don't have background about them, so they become hesitant to answer. So the idea is, like, let's have an example here. So these are 8 cognitive biases that are creating the way you express your life. I think the author talks about blah, blah, blah. In the first paragraph, the author says, and he means that. And do not copy what they say. And maybe you can copy a word, 2 or 3, but if you copy more than that, it's just going to be a copy-paste task. So let's have a look here at this example.
I will give you an example of mine, and we will see if you are talking about the same thing.
Okay.
Like in the previous one, just let me remember the exact title. It is the subconscious behaviors that are keeping you from having the life you want.
Yes.
So I took a quote like from each paragraph, and I wrote a thing about it, like creating an ideal from the past or solution for previous problem. This will be the quote, and I will write. I wrote down what I think about it or my personal experience. Do you want to be like?
Yes.
The answer to be like this? Okay.
Exactly like that. It's just going to be exactly like that. And I would be more than happy actually to read what you wrote. So send it to me at your convenient time. I will just have a look at it. and then we can build a better narrative on what you write. But once you complete typing it, send it to my Telegram so I can give you feedback, and then we discuss it in our next meeting.
Okay, inshallah.
3 things that you have learned from our meeting tonight.
It is the same. I'm still weak. I'm still weak. I'm still weak.
This subconscious feeling is not going to be healthy at all. So the kind
No,
of
it's healthy for me because I know myself. I need to feel myself
you know
at
what?
the bottom.
You know what?
So I can.
You know what? You know what?
What?
We men will never understand your mind.
And you will not ever, ever, ever. Because we do not understand ourselves sometimes.
Because the way you think is completely different from the way our brain is wired to think. However, this was a tough simulation of IELTS test. Of course, the kind of interview you'll have is so much less stressful than this. I'm trying to push as much stress on you in terms of my face, in terms of my sound, in terms of the complexity of questions that I do have here for your own good. So let's plan for our next meeting, hopefully on Monday.